Hey, this is Kelby. In this video, I'll show you the options that Rock My Retirement gives you to alter your plans if you aren't on track to retire the way you want. Let's jump in. If you haven't retired yet, then Rock My Retirement allows you to plan for a retirement that begins on some date in the future. And if that's how you're using it, that's great. For each scenario, Rock My Retirement will model how your retirement assets will grow between now and your retirement date based on the options you set in the modeling module. I discuss those options in the other videos in the option menus library. But what happens if, when your retirement date comes, your assets aren't as large as you want? Well, that can happen. And Rock My Retirement gives you several options for adjusting your plans so that you don't get yourself in trouble. Those options are listed in the Preparation Options module. They are: first, you can defer your retirement if your assets don't hit a specific target value by your retirement date. Second, you can semi-retire and work a bit at the beginning of your retirement if your assets don't hit your target. And third, you can downsize your home if your assets don't hit your target. Any of these options can help you shore up your retirement if things aren't going as you had hoped as of the day you retire. Let's review how each of them works. If I want to include some contingency plans for my retirement, then in the Options menu, I'm going to click the Preparation button on the left. On the upper left of that module, there's a knob that tells Rock My Retirement whether I want it to model contingency plans if my invested retirement assets fail to reach a specific amount by the date I intend to retire. So I'm going to turn that knob to yes. And now it will allow me to specify the target investment value. That value represents the minimum amount I want to have saved by my retirement date. So let's say I'm planning a retirement date of January 1st, 2030, and I set the target investment value to $1.5 million. Now, for each scenario, Rock My Retirement will see whether my retirement assets have a value of at least $1.5 million when my retirement date rolls around. If they do, then it doesn't worry about the contingency plans in this module. But if the assets aren't worth at least $1.5 million, then Rock My Retirement will make whatever changes I indicate in this module. The first change you can allow is to defer your retirement, which means you'll keep working at your regular job to pay your bills until your assets grow enough to meet the target. Simply flip the Defer Retirement toggle switch to the On position, and then turn the Max Years to Defer knob to the maximum number of years you're willing to defer your retirement. Now, for any simulation in which your asset value is below the target as of your retirement date, Rock My Retirement will assume you're paying your expenses by continuing to work at your regular job until either A, your total investment value hits the target based on the simulation's growth rates, or B, you reach the maximum number of years to defer that you've set here. The second change you can allow is to add work. If you flip the Add Work toggle switch to the On position, then in any simulation in which your invested assets are below the target value on your retirement date, Rock My Retirement will assume that you'll work to earn some additional income for a while. Specify the additional amount you'll earn with the Extra Annual Income widget. And you also use the Max Years Work to Add knob to tell Rock My Retirement how long you're willing to work during your retirement to hit your target investment value. Note that the work you list here is in addition to any work you specified in the My Plans menu. So think of this as extra work. Also, remember that if you're deferring your retirement, Rock My Retirement will assume that you continue working at your regular job to pay your bills. It will not add this additional work here as long as your retirement is being deferred. So let's work through a simple example to see how these two work together. Let's suppose that my retirement date is January 1 of 2030. I'm going to set the max years to defer at 2 years, and then I'll set the max years to work at 6 years. Now, in any scenario in which I don't meet my target investment by my retirement date, Rock My Retirement will begin by assuming that I defer my retirement for 2030 and 2031 if necessary. This means that for 2030 and 2031, all the expenses I enter in the budgeted expenses menu will be covered by the money I earned from continuing my career rather than pulling that money from retirement assets. If my invested assets still haven't hit my target by the end of 2031, then Rock My Retirement assumes that I will work to earn this extra annual income from 2032 through 2035 or until I hit my target, whichever comes first. The third change you can allow is to downsize your home. If you turn this toggle switch on, then the window to the right of that switch will display each home you have identified in the Budgeted Expenses menu. For each home, you can set the Can Downsize button on or off. If it's off, then Rock My Retirement will not make any changes to this house. If the button is on, then Rock My Retirement will assume that if you fail to hit your target asset value as of your retirement date, you'll downsize this house by the percentage you indicate in the Downsize knob. For example, back in the Expenses menu, I indicated that I own a home worth $1 million. I clicked the Can Downsize button, and I set the downsize percent to 40%. Now, in any simulation in which I fail to hit the target asset value by my retirement date, Rock My Retirement assumes that I will sell the home and buy another home that is worth 40% less than this one. Rock My Retirement will calculate the taxes I would owe on the sale, subtract that and any outstanding mortgage from the proceeds, and deposit the rest in my accounts based on my reinvestment settings in the Strategies menu. Note that the Strategies module also gives you the option to downsize homes you own at some point during your retirement. That downsizing is in addition to any downsizing that takes place as a result of this downsize option in the Preparation module. So, if you're already downsizing your home in the Expenses module, then any simulations in which you're also downsizing due to a failure to meet your target, well, you'll be downsizing twice. Downsizing also works if you rent a home rather than own. In that case, Rock My Retirement will assume that you'll rent a cheaper home, such that your monthly rent is less than it would be in your current home by the percent that you indicate in the Downsize knob. Now, here's a suggestion for how to make best use of the Preparations module. These options should not be your first choice. These options each involve real compromises to your lifestyle, which is not ideal. So, before you start tinkering with the options in this module, start by trying the things that don't require as much sacrifice. Experiment with different asset allocations, Social Security withdrawal start ages, Roth conversions, withdrawal and reinvestment strategies in the Strategies menus, and all the other things that might strengthen your retirement without compromising your lifestyle so much. If you've done everything you can to make your retirement as bulletproof as possible, then come to this module and consider what compromises work best for you when you've run out of other options. Well, that wraps up this video on preparation options, and I hope that it helps you rock your retirement.